Are you raising your child and frequently ask yourself, am I doing this right? There may be a simple solution. Hello, Power Parent, and welcome to the Leadership Parenting Podcast. I'm Uzondu, the Leadership Parenting Coach, and I'm excited to help you raise empowered and resilient children and become the parent you want to be by applying work skills at home. And for now, let me share how you can bring your work home. There I was in the middle of the store, holding 2 sets of napkins in front of my baby. She was 5 weeks old and laying in her pram. The other shoppers must have thought I had lost my mind, but I wasn't thinking about that. Which one do you want? I carefully observed the reactions of my baby. What started as playful interaction turned into me practicing. I had learned that asking her and waiting for her reaction made sense. Your child probably didn't come with a manual, so you went with the organic approach. You do until you're triggered to do differently, and you combine that with the observe and react approach. Trying to move in sync with your child, which, due to tantrums or parent exhaustion, might lead to do until you're triggered to do differently, and overall growing together. I'm all for that. There are a lot of benefits to these approaches. The only thing is that you're keeping the boat afloat, but you're unsure of where you're heading. Which is strange because you're the grown-up and everyone's looking at you. You are the parent, the leader, and merely based on the size of you and the number of years you have, you're supposed to have a better overview. Most parents go through the motions, living day-to-day life, reacting in the moment, and essentially struggling with the same obstacles time after time. And frequently you ask yourself, am I doing this right? It often feels like you're running around quenching fires. And you might be familiar with that feeling, just in a different environment. Does your workplace come to mind? I make a lot of comparisons to the workplace. People do receive training to become a manager or improve their skills in the office. So let's just build on what you already know. And what's familiar? When you look in an office environment where people, most often the managers, are running around to quench those fires, there's probably a lot going on. Very often you don't get to do the work you actually wanted to do, or you might not know what you're supposed to be doing, what will move the needle, so to speak. You feel like you're treading water, making a lot of effort to stay afloat, without really going anywhere. And your feelings of satisfaction are long gone. Not alone that, colleagues aren't all too happy and react grumpy when you ask yet another favor. And there's this sense of always running behind, never having time for anything. The organization is probably even spending too much time, money and energy on various projects. And then there's the stress and anxiety, plenty of it. Can you see the parallels already? What happens is that the organization is being led by events, and what is lacking is a clear vision. And I'm saying clear on purpose, because an organization may have a long-term vision, but if it's only penned down in very lengthy reports that no one ever reads or understands, it requires a whole lot of effort to get the bulk moving in a desired direction. And at home it might be the other way around. You started your parenting career with a fake sense of, I'm not going to be like my parents, or I'm going to enjoy parenthood. Yet, here you are, feeling anxious, feeling frustrated, feeling guilty. And let's talk about overwhelm. There's so many responsibilities, so many tasks to do, so many decisions to take, maybe even so much stuff because you, or well-meaning grandparents, keep buying your child toys and gadgets. You may be inconsistent in your approach, and your approach might differ from your partner's approach, which can lead to your child feeling confused and maybe even unsafe. Or they may get really adept at knowing when to ask who for what. And there might also be some regrets. I wish I had. How would you finish that sentence? I wish I had more time with the kids. I wish I had started sooner with letting them try more exotic dishes. I wish I had more time for me. You may find it challenging to provide meaningful guidance and support to your children as they go through their different stages of development, and it can result in missed opportunities for teaching important life skills and values, also known as the I should haves. Without knowing it, you may even be encouraging dependence instead of independence. You might forget to foster your child's natural development for independence and autonomy and self-reliance. The funny thing is, if you don't have a clear vision, you will continue to react to what life or your growing child throws at you. The absence of it can make the relationship with your child difficult, leading to misunderstandings, conflicts, and a lack of trust and connection. Wouldn't it be nicer to be in charge? To know where you're going, to have a sense of direction, to even have clarity in daily interactions, and to know that you're doing a good job? Impossible? But funny enough, you wouldn't say that if we were talking, again, about businesses, about an organization. Because those are all normal aspirations. In a business, you want to know what you're supposed to be doing. In a business, you want to know how well you're doing. And they achieve that by having a clear and long-term vision, or a mission statement, or a North Star. I'm not saying that these are all similar, but for the current purpose, they all have the same effect. The North Star has always served as a reliable beacon for seafarers, guiding them home, and it can serve the same way in your parenting. A long-term vision gives you that beacon, that compass that helps you make day-to-day decisions and navigate the highs and lows of parenting towards a sense of fulfillment. And isn't that what you want in every aspect of your life? Obviously, okay, this is not a static project plan. It's not straightforward. Life happens, the weather changes, hormones will rage. It is good to be flexible, to take an organic approach. Just find a way that fits all of you. And your vision will act as an orientation point. With every decision that you need to make, left, right, you look at it and it will help you decide on the right course of action. And yes, that does include simple daily tasks as, do I put down the clothes for tomorrow's school day? Or when your child will ask you, can I play with my friend? So let's move back to that office analogy to get a feel for how you can benefit from having a vision. I have a couple of them and I can translate them to your home life. And of course, it's not an extensive list. By all means, Google them. But the most important thing is that you get the idea of it. Okay, so there's alignment. A clear vision helps you to align everyone in the organization towards a common goal. When employees understand the purpose and direction of the company, they can work together more cohesively to achieve that. And at home, that means, for example, that when your children understand why you do something, and something that they will continuously recognize, it will make it easier for them to follow up on it. It also means that you and your partner can raise your children together unitedly. There's also guidance. As said, a vision serves as guiding light for making decisions and prioritizing. And it leads to a clear sense of, yes, I know what I'm doing. You know why you're doing it. A clear vision also helps with focus. It helps employees focus their efforts on what truly matters. It prevents distractions and helps to prioritize tasks that contribute to the realization of the vision, improving productivity and efficiency. And this is so handy in the daily humdrum of life. Knowing what really matters and knowing where not to make a fuss. The things you can delegate, the things you can leave altogether, and the things you can be more relaxed on. Another one is innovation. A well-defined vision encourages innovation and creativity. When employees are inspired by a compelling future, they are more likely to think outside the box and explore new ideas and solutions to achieve it. Although I'm a strong advocate of providing stability and predictability, it is also true that raising a child is an organic process. You will encounter new situations, new challenges, and it's so easy to fall back on patterns you have previously experienced. When you do have your North Star, when you know what you want to accomplish on the long run, that will inspire you to find solutions and take different approaches to navigate these moments. One of the things that I frequently do is to just ask my daughter, and she will come up with the most magnificent solutions and replies. And then there's resilience. In challenging times or amid setbacks, a clear vision provides resilience and helps the organization stay focused on its long-term goals. It fosters a sense of perseverance and determination to overcome obstacles and adapt to new circumstances effectively. Let's say something bad happened, I don't know, a pandemic or something. Suddenly you find yourself at home, trying to balance work obligations with homeschooling your kids, hoarding toilet paper. Just hypothetically, of course. Having that clear vision will help you to continue to provide stability for all of you involved. You will only use concepts as innovation, like I mentioned. Sounds good? Now, hashtag, how to do it. Creating a long-term vision in parenting involves considering the kind of person you hope your child will become and the values you want to instill in them. There are a couple of ways to go about it, and they depend on your family situation. If you're a single parent, just start sitting down and writing down and going through the steps that I will shortly share with you. But if you have a partner, if you are co-parenting, if you are in a situation where you have multiple parents for your children, then think of it like being on a boat. When there are several captains on a ship, one is doing the first shift and then the next one does the second shift. When they don't have the same course, it will mean that the boat might go left and go right and essentially will not have moved at all. For children, it's even a bit more complicated because different visions may well exist next to each other. The boat would sort of zigzag, but it's confusing. Having a shared vision encourages open communication between parents, and it will help them to collaborate to define their goals and priorities and foster a stronger partnership in raising their children. So sit together and work on this, or work on this separately and then get together and align your visions. Now, grab a pen and paper and do one of the following, or all of them, whatever you need to get to your own parenting vision. Don't just do it in your head, really write it down, because it will get the ideas out of your head, and when you see them on paper, you'll have a different perspective. Okay, so here are some approaches I normally recommend. Firstly, write down what you appreciated growing up, the lessons and messages you'd like to pass on to the next generation. You could also start having conversations with parents you like to hang out with. You probably have common values and aspirations. You can also think about your aspirations for your children's future. What qualities and skills do you want them to develop? What kind of adults do you hope that they will become? And besides looking at what you'd like for your children, also take a look at how you want to experience your parenting career. Who do you want to be? What type of family life do you want to have? The relationships, the atmosphere. It might lead to several pages, and my challenge to you is to make it simpler. As I said before, when you have a pile of paper that no one ever reads or understands, it's not much of a guidance. So create a short sentence, 7 words max, Create an image if you're more visual, or maybe even if you want your children to understand what you're doing from an early age. Make it visual, something you can hang on the fridge. And it means that you can communicate this vision. Maybe not completely to your 3-year-old, but certainly to your 8-year-old. I didn't really have a conscious plan when I started. It was before I realized I was applying my work practices at home. But I did have that conviction, that beacon, that guiding light of knowing that I wanted my daughter to have options. I wanted her to know that her opinions and feelings matter. And in general, it's making my life so much easier. Only one side note, when you're writing all this down and when you're coming up with your aspirations, don't aim for your children to be happy. You can make any effort that you want to help them be happy, but make sure, do understand that it's a pretty big burden and obligation that you might put on your child. What if they're not happy? Does that mean that they disappoint you? Does it mean that you have failed? So in your formulations, when you're writing down this vision, do consider the impact, the consequences. Having a vision means that you think about what type of parent you want to be, how you want to experience parenthood, what you want for your child. And the result is that you have a guideline on the approach of day-to-day tasks and events. For example, do you allow them to climb that tree? Can you leave them with a babysitter for 2 nights a week? Do you continue preparing their lunchbox when they go to secondary? Your parenting will become intentional and consistent. When you seek out support, it's not so much to quench a fire, but to help you fulfill your vision and to be able to adapt to your children's changing needs. And of course, it just feels very good when you see your children grow and thrive in alignment with what you set out for. It leads to positive outcomes for both you and your children. So create that vision and start acting on it. When you've come up with a 1-sentence mission statement, I'd love to hear them. Just post them in the comments to inspire other parents. Or send me an email if you want to discuss it at info@leadershipparenting.co.uk. Happy parenting! Thank you so much for joining me today on the Leadership Parenting Podcast. I hope you found the shared information valuable and full of insights. Let me know your thoughts. Feel free to send me your questions, as well as suggestions for new topics. I'd love to hear your stories, help you empower your child, and become the parent you want to be. Remember, parenting is a personal development journey. You grow as your child grows up, and I'm happy to be your coach and help you apply your leadership skills to enjoy these precious years together. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, be the leader you want to be.